Hi, so it's been an age since I posted a video on this channel. I think it's just because I enjoyed sewing more than I did filming, and as much as I love editing, I didn't want to take so much time to edit when I could be sewing, so sorry. One day I'll get around to showing things that I've made properly, but for now, I'm back just for a short video on a quick way of making a mask. On the 23rd of May, I'm going to be doing a 13K charity walk for two different charities. The first is the Dodo Wildlife Conservation Trust, which is kind of where the 13K came from because they have the Dodo Challenge, which is a run, but they have a virtual one that you can walk, which is great because I cannot run physically. I can't run because of my back and my leg, or legs, depending on the day. So it's great that the virtual one allows accessibility, so I can walk that. And I also decided that alongside raising money for Dural, I wanted to raise money for Mind as well, which is a UK charity focused on mental health. If you go online, Mind is just an amazing resource for just general information, phone numbers to call. It's just a great resource for for the promotion of mental health. There's so much more that we could be doing to promote better mental health, to promote just the discussion of mental health, to take away that stigma. So I wanted to kind of do these two together. And as I've been kind of saying in emails I've been sending out, we're doing a natural habitat and your mental habitat. So I thought that was nice. It's probably not as clever as it sounds, I'm gonna be honest. But anyway, here's my trio of dodos. On my Just Giving page, you'll see that I'll be taking these wonderful dodos with me on the walk, and I'll be doing live updates with a hashtag that I will put on the screen. It's Savage Dodos. That's my surname, but if you want to think these dodos are savage, that's absolutely fine. They're pretty cool. I do have an obsession with dodos that I talk about on these Just Giving pages, so I won't go into that now. And in this video, I thought I would show you how to make a dodo mask. So this is the finished product. I embroidered the dodo here. You can actually find the pattern that I made for this on my Just Giving pages. Again, links below. You don't have to give any money. Please don't feel pressure. That's not why I'm saying links below. Check the pages out. It's more to raise awareness of the causes. I don't expect any donations to come in. I actually don't have a donation goal because I don't want anyone to feel pressured to give anything, and it's more, as I said, about raising awareness. Anyway, back to the mask. I'm going to do a voiceover of the mask construction. We've had a lot of rain in the UK for the past few days, which is why I'm doing the voiceover, because all of my craft work I usually do in a conservatory, and if you've ever heard rain come down on whatever, I think that's a fiberglass roofing, it's too annoying. So I'll do the voiceover instead. What's great about masks is you don't need a sewing machine, you don't need fancy equipment to make them. I obviously used my sewing machine to make it, but you can sew everything by hand. You don't even need elastic. You can just use, strips of fabric to, tie it back like ribbon. So really it's a great project for scrap fabric, or if you've got, some fabric lying around and you're looking for something to do on an afternoon. The general construction, I'd say, takes, you could do it in a day if you just wanted to throw it together without the embroidery. The embroidery obviously, adds time onto that. So for me, it took about 2 days. And I say 2 days, even though it was technically 3 because I got a hand cramp while embroidering, so I had to stop. But I could have continued, and if I have continued, I would have finished on that day. So it was a bit frustrating, but you know, listen to your body. If you hand sew, obviously it's going to take a little longer, but it's not too complicated of a project, and I hope that the instructions I provide are clear.
So I'm starting with a piece of computer paper and a mask that I already own and that I find comfortable, and I'm going to make a pattern from this. Because this mask has a seam down the middle, I'm only going to need to trace one side of it. So here I am tracing one side of the mask. You don't have to be too exact, and it's okay if your lines are a little wonky. You can always fix them when you finish tracing. And here's me doing just that on the curve of the front seam. I usually go over curves a few times just to make sure they're smooth for when I cut them out. And here I am adding a 1/2 inch seam allowance all around the side of the pattern. All of the sides get this seam allowance, as you can see, because all of them will at one point, or at some point I mean, be sewn. I'm adding an extra inch of seam allowance to the side where the elastic loops will go, and this is so I have enough fabric to fold over to enclose the elastic. And cut out your pattern. My mask is going to be 3 layers, and I'm using these 2 fabrics. So I'm going to use 2 layers of the calico and 1 layer of the gingham. So the calico will be on the front so I can embroider, and the gingham will be on the inside with an extra layer of calico between them. Now I'm cutting out the back pieces and middle pieces. If you're using a patterned fabric, obviously be careful about how you do cut these out. Luckily, I'm using fabrics that can be used on either side, so I don't have to worry too much about that. This will leave me with now 4 pieces, 2 for the back, 2 for the middle. Instead of cutting out the front-facing pieces, I'm tracing the pattern right onto the fabric. This is so I know where I can place the bits of embroidery I want to use, while also leaving enough fabric on the sides to fit into an embroidery hoop. Make sure you trace this pattern twice, of course, and on the second time, flip it so when you eventually sew them together, you get 2 sides, a right and a left, rather than, say, a right and a right or a left and a left. So you want to make sure that you flip the pattern when you trace it the second time. So this is the original Dodo pattern that I've now digitized and put up on my JustGiving pages, which is actually what I'm saying in the video that I'm voicing over because the audio, as I mentioned, is just awful in the original. But anyway, I'm using the original drawing for my pattern, and because I'm using calico, I can pretty much see through it enough to trace, which is what I'm doing here. But you may want to use another method or whatever your preferred method is. On the other side, I decided to put the date of my 13K, which is the 23rd of May. Embroidery time! Here you can see that I'm setting up a hoop. For the Dodo, for the main colors, I used 2 strands of each color, and I used a chain stitch to fill in all the areas. Then I went back and used a black to outline it, but I only used 1 strand of the black so it wouldn't be too in your face. When it comes to embroidering the date, I used 2 strands for the 23 May 2021, and then I decided to add the names of the charity kind of last minute, so I free-handed Dural and Mind in a single strand on the side, which you'll be able to see when I show you the finished embroidered product. 1 hand cramp later and the embroidery is finished. Now all that's left is to cut these 2 pattern pieces out. And you can see my finger telling you to do so in the previously recorded footage. And ta-da! Here are the pieces cut out, all done and embroidered. Don't forget, and I'm going to do this in a minute, when we sew these together for the for the center seam and everything else, make sure you do this right sides facing each other, just as I've laid them there. Now I'm going over to the sewing machine and sewing all of the front sort of curve seams on each of the layers. With the front seams done, I'm now going to pin together all 3 layers, but pin them in a way that I can then turn it inside out. So I'm going to pin the 2 calico layers together. I'm going to turn them right side out, and then I'm going to turn the gingham layer wrong side out and put that over the right side, so the right side of the gingham will be facing the right side of the dodo. Hopefully you'll be able to see or make sense of that in what I'm showing you here. A great way to line up all of your edges is to line up the seams. If you want, you can press open the seams, and I would have done that, but I couldn't find my tailor ham, which is what you kind of what you use with the iron to iron out the seams, but I couldn't find it. Doesn't matter. In this project it doesn't, but I wouldn't recommend ever doing that if you're making anything else. But for a mask, it's absolutely fine. What I'm doing here is folding a 1/2 inch of the gingham ear side over, and I'll do the same on the calico side, just the opposite way. This is to hide the raw edges, so when I sew up the top and bottom, that fold will be caught up in that stitching. So when I turn it inside out, then it will look like the sides are nice and neat. Hopefully that makes sense, and if it doesn't, just watch what I'm doing, I guess. Hopefully, yeah, we'll go with that. Just watch what I'm doing. And once you're finished pinning, we're going to sew up the bottom of the mask and the top of the mask, making sure to leave the sides not sewn up because we're going to turn it inside out. With the top and bottom sewn up, you can now turn the mask inside out. This next step is optional, but I thought it made the end product look quite nice, so I did a 1/4 inch top stitching on both the bottom and top, just to make it look a little bit neater and to keep the layers kind of sitting correctly. And finally, the last bit of sewing. It's the elastic channels on the sides for your ears. I folded these sides over another 1/2 inch, and then I whip stitched it into place, and I didn't go through all 3 layers of the mask. I just went through the gingham so you didn't get a line on the side looking a little out of place. You can obviously, just do a quick stitch down, but I thought this looked a bit neater, and I'm glad I did it this way. Last step, the elastic. I just kind of eyeballed how much I would need from the mask I was copying, and I cut 2 strands of that. Then I fed them through the channels using a bodkin, but you can use a paper clip, a safety pin. I think I've seen people use straws, or you could just slide it through. It really depends on how big the channel you made is. And then I tied them off and then hid the knot inside the channel. This way you can untie it if you need to adjust the length of the elastic, if you're maybe adding more, or if you want to make that smaller. And then there you have it. There's your mask.
Anyway. Okay, so I hope that was clear, and I hope it inspired you to maybe embroider or make your own face mask, or whatever. Crafting is fun. I'm hungry and it's lunchtime, so I'm gonna go eat now. But it's great to make another video, and I'm sure I'll have fun editing this, and hopefully maybe I'll be making videos for this channel at some point. I don't know. I don't want to put it out there in case I end up going into hibernation like I did last time. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I do hope you check out the Just Giving pages that I've set up. Again, like as I said, not to, you know, pressure for donations or anything like that, but more to raise awareness if you didn't know about Dura, or if you didn't know that Mind was up there. So I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you join us actually on our walk on the 23rd using the hashtag. Again, I'll put it up there or there or wherever I deem suitable for the hash. I'll be posting to Twitter and Instagram because that's all I have. And yeah, so you don't have to be following me on either platform. You just have to pick up the or put in the hashtag, and you should be able to find us. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you'll be entertained if you do decide to join us virtually on our walk. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye!